Welcome back to the podcast where I'm Duran,
And I'm Mike.
and this is Before We Forget the Podcast. So, Mike, you got a question for me?
I do. So we see a lot of celebrities with a lot of kids nowadays. They kind of bounce baby mamas around. First person comes to mind, Nick Cannon, right? And I guess the question that comes to mind this week is, can you successfully parent multiple kids if they have different moms?
No,
Hmm. Why?
because first and foremost, uh, you already creating broken homes with the children. You got a dad, and then you got a whole bunch of baby mamas. You can raise them and teach them good morals. But at the end of the day, they're still coming from a broken home, so you're not really showing them the values and what it means to really be family or to do the right thing. You kind of just living.
But what if they taken care of, like Nick Cannon, Quavo,
That don't matter.
Future, got all these
That
kids?
doesn't matter. They're still a broken home regardless. And it doesn't help if you continue to have kids after that. So you're just doing the same thing over and over. So not only are you not learning the lesson, you're not even showing your kids the right way to do things properly.
How is it broken home now?
Because you got two different parents. You got the same parent, and then you got a different parent for each kid. So you got to have communication with 10 to 16 people because you want to keep having kids with everybody. In no way, shape, or form is that responsible. It don't matter how much money you are, who you are, or your status. You can be the best of stepmom and stepdad. At the end of the day, you still creating a broken home or created a broken home. It's just you trying to fix what you already broke. So you just like slapping a band-aid on a cut that needs stitches. The case in point, we see it all the time. People just don't think that because nobody wants to be the villain. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. And we come from households where we got different parents, or we got one parent that we all share, and the other parent is different, whether it's a man or a woman.
Right.
That don't take away from nobody trying to raise their kids properly. You could do that, but you saying that can you successfully parented your kids? You didn't because you communicating with each kid based off of a different level of age, who their parent was, and how the communication goes with that said parent.
Mm,
It's been tried and tried through and through.
but I mean, then like when we look at Nick Cannon's situation, it's working. You see him like spending time with his kids. You see him. I mean, outside of actually him working, he's spending time with his kids. He's getting all his kids together to be together. Like they're with him. He's. I mean, the moms get along. Like
It
it seems like he has a cheat code right now.
it seems like it, but again, that's all. It's all an illusion. That's not real. I mean, you could still teach him and give him values. He just got money. That's it. You got money to gather up your kids and to do that. But what you the initial like lesson to teach your kids is it's okay to have kids with multiple people as long as you present or what you consider to be present.
I mean, but not necessarily. Sometimes your kids learn a bigger lesson watching you do wrong than watching you do right.
Yeah, but that don't make it right, and that don't justify the ends to the mean. And the question is, can you successfully parent multiple kids with different moms? And I said no, and that's why. It ain't got
So,
nothing to do with you being there.
so if Nick Cannon, let's just put it out, if all of his kids grow up, go to college, and have like get married, have a happy life, whatever, you don't call that success that he successfully helped parent them.
I wouldn't call it successfully parenting because you can still be there. I'm not taking away nobody's ability to be there or do nothing or teach life lessons. I didn't say you couldn't do that. I just said I wouldn't call it successful parenting because you initially creating a broken home. If your child happens not to follow into the chain that you started, cool. But I wouldn't credit yourself for that. Your kid, like you just said, it's all your mistake. and decided not to do that. Ultimately, kids do what they want to do when they see parents do things, or when they see aunties, uncles, or whoever see something. We kind of shape our own view from that. So while it's guided now, you clearly know it's an evolution or a thought process that goes through our minds when you grow up and you decide what you want to do and be ultimately. So if you want to grow up and be garbage, you're gonna grow up and be garbage. You know this for a fact. We grew up and seen this cycle firsthand.
Yeah, but I think in a lot of cases, parents have the option to either teach from their mistakes or show kids essentially, or kind of teach them like to live in that mistake. Meaning like, we've made some mistakes growing up. And if we saw our kids about to make that same mistake, we can tell them like, hey, I've been down that path. Don't do that. Right. But I feel like some parents easily can just be like, come do it with me.
Yeah, but that's different because we have kids with the people we marry. So we didn't create a broken home to begin with. You created a successful home, a home that started with success for two people trying to do something.
I don't think just because you're married means it's a successful home.
I mean, obviously, abuse and other things could be taking place, but you started with a base intention for it to be correct versus you going out and continuously having kids by choice.
I don't see, and I think that's where, like, I don't think marriage necessarily is what makes it successful. Like,
It doesn't. That's why
I think marriage was the route we took.
I made the basis that you can get married, and I agree that don't make it perfect because you can easily get into an abusive relationship, or something can happen where it's not an ideal marriage.
See, I think, but I'm saying what I think like is gonna make it successful parenting is both people having a clear like focus and expectation on how they're gonna raise these children. And there's gonna be disagreements because along the way, I do feel like what you want and what I want, or how we were raised, or our values are gonna clash a little bit. Um, but this is where I'll say I agree with you on you can't successfully do it because when you are living in the same home and you have those conversations and things like that, you know that your values align to a certain degree. And I feel like a lot of people, when they have kids and then they break up or they split up, it's because somewhere down the line they realize that their values don't align anymore. And so when your values don't align and this person's values don't align, and you're trying to raise a kid, but y'all can't even see eye to eye on things, how can you successfully parent? And when you have four, I will say 2, 3, 4, 5 baby mamas, and you're trying to align your values with their values, that's going to make it even harder. It's hard enough to get two people's values to align, really, where it's not confrontations or where there's compromise when raising a child. So to try to get my values to line up with woman A, then woman B, then woman C, then woman D, it just don't work. And what happens if woman A raises my kid perfect? That's our values align. But then woman B, C, D, and E don't. Do I tell them like, oh, y'all need to be more like woman A? Because that ain't gonna help. I feel like that's the big thing. But the biggest part is I don't think you can really give your time like it needs to be given to 5 different households, 4 different however many. You can't split time between 2 different households. That's hard enough. So how can you give each kid enough time to really be effective in their life? You're more like an uncle than a dad.
So what exactly are you trying to say then?
I don't think you can effectively parent. I think Nick Cannon has uh, very good Facebook and Twitter and Instagram moments. He gets his kids, he takes pictures, he's financially supporting them and setting them up for life. He's making those sacrifices that he says, but you know what? They're making sacrifices because they don't see their dad like they should. He's not coming home every night. And then if he does come home, it's a different home to see a different kid or different kids because he ended up making the rounds back around to his other baby mamas and having more. Um, and so it's just like I don't understand it because I know how much time I give to just my two that are living with me, and I can imagine taking time away to try to split it up between multiple households.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So you would initially be creating a broken home in the first place, or broken. You when I say broken home, I'm saying that to say you ain't got time to be doing all that. You ain't got time to be 7 places at one time, and it sucks to think your dad is coming to do something with you and they not. And it sucks to
Mm.
think that your parent is coming to do something, and something always come up or something. So imagine doing that simply because you're trying to make situation one work because that's where you are. But situation two is more like, oh, this is what I did. It's in the past, whatever. But I'm gonna still be there, and that's gonna make me a good person because I'm trying.
Yeah.
You would have to do that if you was being responsible in the first place. You can't say, "Oops, it was a mistake" or something happened because if you got 10 kids, how many times you got to make that first mistake?
I just don't think it's mistakes anymore. I think,
You doing it on purpose. You think it's
yeah,
fun and it's a game. It ain't fun. People grow up with real issues because of that stuff. Or man, that's how you get abandonment issues. That's how you get kids or people who become young adults and don't trust nobody. And why would I value marriage if my parents didn't instill that into me? You don't just pick that up off the street. You can, but you gotta want it. Not everybody want it. There's so many different distractions in today's time period. Time keep changing, and the more things change, the more stuff get edged out.
and I think we see it with a lot of these celebrities' kids as they get older too, where they go against their parent. Like it's not just about the money. And I grew up. I mean, we grew up broke in our house for the most part. Like there was five of us, and we wasn't rich by far. But some of my, like we said when Rich was on here, some of my happiest memories was when we were struggling. Like when we had to go outside and drink water from the hose because you couldn't go in the house. You had to make ham and cheese sandwiches because that was all there was for lunch and dinner on the weekend. Like some of them happiest memories came because my parents was there regardless. So it just hits different when you one aren't in a household for any reason. Like we talk about like them being not celebrities and doing whatever, but I even think it hits differently when it's like you're working more than you need to work. You're working overnights and sleeping through the day, and it's like, man, they still don't get to really see you. Things like that. So
Yeah, well, today's age is like boo hoo, deal with it. There's food on the table, the lights is on. That's what matters. But you can't successfully parent having different moms or different dads. It's just not a thing. I mean, it's gonna look good, like you said. A lot of people gonna have Instagram moments. You're gonna have the moments where you take pictures or make you feel good because you could be the best co-parents of all time. You can be cool with your baby mama, your ex-wife, whoever. At the end of the day, you still created a cycle that you can't never fix. The initial wrong can never be fixed. It's
right,
an illusion that it's being fixed because uh you feel like I'm doing all these good things. This is gonna outweigh my bad. And I'm not saying that all those situations turn out bad. Cause like you said, some people grow up and still have great lives and become great people, get great careers. I'm not taking away from none of that, but it doesn't change the fact that they didn't have the best start, or that their parent successfully, you know, parented multiple kids like that. Because then you giving the praise and glory to the parents when the parents at this point is just doing stuff. And I feel like when you say multiple, you already showing that you did something the first time. Okay, I understand where everybody made mistakes. The second time, cool. But now we on like 3 and 4. You got to start questioning your morals and your values. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Well, that's just my opinion.
Y'all let us know what y'all think. Can you successfully parent multiple kids with different moms? Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next episode.